Shalom, shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Nabashai. Bashem Rakar Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations unto the Akim that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and freedom to do so. Confusion to face Akim, join unto our ranks. To the Akwaf that are listening and learning. All of you of the hopeful elect. Alright. Once again, call halal Yahweh Bashem Nabashai. Bashem Rakar Kodash. This is continuation of Death, Drugs, and Deaths of Disparity by Edom, episode 2. And I'm going to continue with this video, how addicts are lured into sex trafficking by Florida's fraudulent treatment centers, because all these drug issue cause so many other issues, man. All right. Loss of jobs. Drop out of school, people drop out of school, and they lose their apartments, their houses, their homes, their cars, and often what happens, people are reduced to selling their bodies for food. All right, you can even see that going on over there in Europe with a lot of those people that came from Syria and different parts of the Middle East and North Africa. They end up giving their bodies up to these Edomites who have money in Europe, man. And I saw videos of them doing it in on RT. These Edomite homosexual men would go down there and offer these Ishmaelites and these Hamites and even some of these Jakes in some cases will offer them money for food in exchange for sex. Or they'll give them money for their drugs or whatever, man. All right? And then one of the reasons why these people drug use get so bad is because inherently they know that that's wrong. So I'm going to start with this scripture here because they said, as you see on the screen, it says, this is a park that I tried to hang myself in. And this is once again that 19-year-old Edomite. And it's just profiling her. She's one of many women. All right? But remember, this drug epidemic is hitting the Edomite race more than any other. All right. But it causes women to be what? Whores, man. And one of the reasons that happens is because you send your daughters away off to school, off to college. All right. Which is nothing but whore school. All right. Because what happens there? They go off and they become promiscuous and they sleep with way too many men and they start trying drugs and things of that nature. And a lot of people lose it and get lost in the sauce. If you do research that followed the majority of people that go off to college, you'll find that many don't finish, and many of them come away from college with their bodies tainted. They come away with venereal diseases, all right, because STDs are raging in America too. We're going to go into that video as well, all right, and a lot of them die because another thing that happens is that the morgues begin to overflow, because they saying right now there's so many deaths from this drug epidemic that the morgues don't have room in them. We're going to touch on that video as well. But let's get the scripture. This is Sirach 26:9. It says, the whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. All right. So you see women with all that caked on makeup and those big eyelids. That's to attract. All right. And not attract one man, but many men. Okay. Because now a lot of these women pride themselves in being with many men when a woman's body is meant to be with one man. That, period. All right. One of the reasons why your children be so messed up, because what women don't understand is that a man's DNA, his sperm stays attached to you, and it can attach to your children. All right. That's how sometimes a child can come out looking like another man, and that man's not even the father. Why? Because that man has deposited so much his DNA into you that it's affected your makeup. All right. And then that child comes out with spirits, and that's not even that he's against his real father. He's against his mother. All right. And that's been proven by science. All right. Anyone wants to challenge it. And they discovered that on accident. They dug up a 90-year-old woman who had been married for 50 years. And they started doing research on her spinal column around the upper vertebrae by her neck, and found all these other sperms and DNA attached to her, even though she had been with the same man for 50 years. They found all these other sperms attached to her. So all those other men that she swallowed up, all right, was still attached to her. All right. A scientific study was done that 30 men can impregnate every woman in the world. That's how much sperm that a man has. Because a woman only is ready for reproduction once a month. A man is ready for reproduction every day, multiple times a day. So they did the math. 30 men can impregnate every woman in the world. And like the scripture says, Isaiah 4:1, in that day 7 women shall cling to one man. And that's the way the Lord set it up to be. And not before then, because the world is upside down right now. This is when the kingdom comes, like it or not. Okay? The world is going to return to that, and there's going to be order in the world again. All right? That's order. And and a lot of you women who so-called believe in the Bible and believe in the Lord, you don't want to acknowledge those biblical facts. You don't want to acknowledge that the Lord set it up to be like that. Why? Because we living in an upside down kingdom where the woman has been elevated above, not equal to, but above the man. All right? And think that she could just be with different man after different man after different man, and the Lord didn't set it up that way. That's one of the reasons why these STDs are raging out of control. Okay? Verse 10. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself over much liberty. This girl had over much liberty. She had way too much liberty, which is why she ended up in the situation that she's in. All right? It says, watch over an impudent eye and marvel not if she trespass against thee. All right? Because when you let her go free and send her away off to slut training college, to college, that's what happens. So even if she does escape the drug traps, she still becomes a defiled human being, defiled of the Lord. And then they put off marriage and put off children, and sex is marriage. So they go become a career woman. And now when they're 37, 38, 40 years old, they want to get married and start trying to have children. You done already had 50 to 100 husbands. And not to count the threesomes, the foursomes, and the gangbangs that you had willfully. All right? Willfully. If you were raped or something like that, I'm not talking about women when that sort of things happen to them. I'm talking about women who do that sort of thing willfully. All right? And if you're one of those women who willfully has sex with many men and multiple men at the same time, you should be hanging your head in shame right now. All right? Then you got the nerves to try to demand something from your man when you are a vessel like that. This is back in Sirach 26, verse 12. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he have found a fountain, and shall drink of every water near her. By every head she shall sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. So basically she's going to swallow up every nut sack that comes her way, and she's going to open up her quiver to every arrow to go inside of it. The Bible is very, very graphic, man. There's even scriptures about butt cheeks and bending over. All right? I read that in the book of Job. Something about how he wished she had never gone on her knees to receive seed. Okay? He wished his mother had never done that. All right? I'd have to find it. I can't think where it is right now, but I just read that the other day, man. The Bible is a rated X book, man. Full of dark sayings, woe, and judgments. It's not just love. That's a false balance. There's love in it too, but there's also hate and judgment. Okay? And here's some of that dark sayings and dark judgment right here.
I tried to hang myself then. My mother tried to pull me out of that house. And they didn't know that I couldn't leave for 2 reasons. Not only am I hooked to crack cocaine, but I am somebody's property. And I cannot leave.
With help from her parents, Simone escaped from that flop house and is now a student at Palm Beach State College. She says her classmates have no idea that she's one of thousands of women and men lost in what they call the Florida Shuffle.
We're about to
Wow,
go
that's
to
America.
106. It's great for trafficking because the highway is right there.
When women come down here, they do in fact become sort of the property and a commodity that's to be traded. It's like a hellhole where they end up powerless, no options, in the hands of people who are going to trade them. There are girls that are 12, 13 years old.
We hear that they're being passed around, groups of girls that are moved from place to place, treated like chattel.
Authorities have made over 30 arrests in just the last year. The most infamous of these cases was that of Kenny Chapman, who pled guilty to multiple counts of money laundering, insurance fraud, and sex trafficking. Susan has represented some of his victims.
So he would actually market them in houses of prostitution. He was also giving them.
Mind you, Esau set this system up so that this could happen. He causes the problem, all right? And then he wants to play the victim or the hero as he comes in to fix the problem, which just drains the system of even more money.
Drugs to have them relapse so they could go to a higher level of care and he would make a higher profit.
I ended up in one of Kenny Chapman's houses. He had the houses so that they were not only able to be locked on the inside, they were able to be locked on the outside. The windows had locks on them. If we did something that he didn't like, he'd lock you in a room or he'd sell you for dirt cheap. He would let you know that 4 people just ran through you for $20. He would let you know that 4 men just ran a train on you for $20. He'd let you know. And he'd let you sit there and think about that. Wouldn't even get you high. Because now you want to get high just to be numb. Just to not feel, to not think. I sat in a bathtub and filled it with scorching hot water and a gallon of bleach. And I sat there just scrubbing.
So there you go, man. Which leads to death to despair, suicides. So here we go.
I've been exploring the wireless world of Sprint, and I've learned Sprint is building America's mobile 5G.
There we go.
This is an article that came out in the Cannabis, and this is really going over how bad it is in the U.S. as far as morgue room is concerned. How bad is the opioid crisis? Morgues?
Mind you, the opioid crisis, the number one victims of it are Edomites. All right? The Edomites make up the highest echelon of people who are going through this. I believe it's over 90%.
Are literally out of room. Wow. But we know this has been going on for a while. But this go to show you how strong this plague is still going in the U.S. One by one, on a single day earlier this month, coroners from 8 counties contacted the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's crime lab. Each had opened a death case that required an autopsy, and each was told to call back the next day. There were no available tables, they were told. It's a response that isn't unusual. Several times on any given week, coroners have been told there's no room at any of the state's forensic labs until other bodies are released. The backlog has sometimes left local officials who rely on the state facilities scrambling to find ways to store bodies. Wow. Ooh, man. Meanwhile, anxious family members must delay funerals, burials, and cremations. Hope, officials hope the measure on the lab will lessen when a new, larger 6.68 million morgue, 17,511 square feet opens in November. Wow, they got to open bigger facilities for all the bodies that are coming in from drug overdose.
I'm sorry I'm laughing. Actually, I'm not.
Expanded intake and body storage areas at the Decanter site opened last week, but others caution the backlog could continue, fueled by a surge in opioid overdose deaths, a rising number of suicides, and Georgia's growing population. Wow. So they're saying they're getting a high number of overdose deaths and suicides coming in at the same time. Oh, man.
Hey, I'm not the only one.
Oh, man, that is crazy.
Hey, because look, hey, Jake has been through so much death and destruction, all right, at the hands of these Edomites for so long. And yes, the scriptures say we will laugh at thy calamity. And we're laughing at your calamity. I'm laughing right along with this, sister. We're laughing at your calamity, okay? At your destruction, all right? This is, hold on. Oh, yeah. What I was looking for is in Ezra's, not Sirach. All right, because the curses are upon Esau, man. Well, that's Deuteronomy 30:7. All right, but yeah, this is Second Ezra's 9, and I'm gonna read verse 1 through 4, and it reads, "He answered me and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou shalt see parts of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." All right. And the Lord is visiting the world because this attack on Esau is coming from on high. All right. This attack has come the same way that the northern and southern kingdom were both going into slavery. They were enslaving the Hispanics and shipping them around the world in cargo slave ships, naked and in chains, before the Negroes. That's for you black-only Israelites. All right. First, when they came to the islands, they were snatching up the melanated people from those islands who were speaking Hebrew and taking them to Seville, Spain. Seville, Spain became the reverse slave capital of the world. And then Christopher Columbus said, now we need to go to West Africa to get their brothers Judah. And that's exactly what he did. All right. So years later, about 30 years later, they started going to West Africa, or actually a little bit more than 30 years later. All right. And they started going to West Africa, getting the Southern Kingdom and trafficking them all over the world, man. With that just get over it mentality that these Edomites have, when they've been the recipients of all this free labor and land and wealth. And then they got to treat you like shit. Murder you, kill you, not pay you what you were owed. You know, deaths like Emmett Till was just one in hundreds of thousands, man, where there was no justice served. So you goddamn right, we're going to laugh at your calamity. All right? Verse 2, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen in the earth quakes and uproars of the people of the world, and you're seeing the quakes and uproars of the people all over the world, man, like never before. Like never before. So any fool wants to fix his lip to say all that happened in the past, it's never happened like now. At the same time that the drums of war are beating, and you're on the verge of World War III. Stupid, open your eyes. Verse 4. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. All right. It says, for like is all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Call halal Yahweh Bashim Nawashai Bahashim Rakar Kwadash Wa Abba Babal.